Hi friends, today we'll talk about the Rahu Ketu axis in your birth chart. It's going to be a very interesting video. Friends, when Rahu is in the first house, then Ketu will be in the 12th house. I'm so sorry. When Rahu is in the first house, Ketu will be in the 7th house. Alright? So, what does this Rahu Ketu axis mean? Now, when Rahu will be in the 2nd house, Ketu will be in the 8th house. Alright? So, friends, what does this mean? So, for each of the 12 houses, when Rahu is from house 1 to house 12, while Ketu will be again in the corresponding houses. So, we'll do that. This video is also going to focus a lot on Pitra dosha. How is Pitra dosha formed, okay, in your birth chart? Now, Pitra dosha is generally formed when the luminaries, the planets Sun and Moon in astrology, are connected to Rahu and Ketu. And especially when, this conjunction is forming between them in certain houses of your birth chart, okay? So, I will discuss that as I move on to the respective placements of Rahu Ketu in the houses, and I will talk about what results you will get and whether Pitra dosha is formed or not, and also the remedy. Please listen to this carefully, because this is during the introduction itself. I want to talk about the remedies for Pitra dosha. So the most general remedies for Pitra dosha. What is Pitra dosha? That is, Pitras refer to your ancestors, okay, your forefathers in your family. Now when they are unhappy due to certain reasons, they are no more now. They are in the Pitra loka, but if they were unsatisfied because of certain actions performed by someone in the family, then they get annoyed or they withdraw their blessings, and it could even lead to some curse. And the native, if they have Pitra dosha in the birth chart, because some ancestor is not happy due to some reason, either the last rites were not performed duly, or maybe during their lifetime they had to suffer, and because of that also they could, they may have passed away with that grievance. So and then you can have Pitra dosha in your birth chart, which your birth chart will indicate. All right. So generally the general remedies, there could be specific remedies depending on the position of the planets in the houses, but the general remedies for Pitra dosha is to make your ancestors happy, is like you need to make offerings to them during the Pitra Paksha. Pitra Paksha falls generally in the month of September, okay? So it's for around 15 days. So during that Pitra Paksha, you are supposed to make offerings called tarpan to your ancestors, okay? It's better to make offerings to all your ancestors, father's side, mother's side, and that is a very good remedy, okay? You can do the tarpan also with the help of some priest, okay? You can do it at a temple by some river. You can do that. And there's one more general remedy. The other remedy is that the death anniversary of a near and dear one who's no more now. The death anniversary, say, of any of your paternal grandfather, or even father or mother if they are no more. So the death anniversary, on that day, puja has to be performed, okay? Some priest has to do that, and every year it is to be done annually, okay? So that is also a way of that's a good remedy. that on their death anniversary you do some puja and make offerings to them and remember them, seek their blessings. Then so these are certain general remedies which you should do. And people go to a place called Gaya also, where they make offerings to their ancestors. In India they do that. So anyway, now let's move on to what will happen when Rahu and Ketu, they are in a certain axis. Okay, so it could be the 1-7 axis, or it could be 2-8 axis. So what results you will get? Let's get started. So when Rahu is in the first house, then Ketu will be in your 7th house. All right, so Rahu in the first house, what does it show? That maybe at the time of your birth, your mother definitely had to encounter a certain difficulty, problem. It's possible. At the time of your birth, your birth happened after great struggle, difficulty. It's possible. And when you have Rahu in the first house, then it also indicates that some ancestor is reborn in the family. You are carrying the soul of some ancestor, some grandfather. Rahu is generally connected to your paternal grandfather and maternal grandmother. But anyway, it is said that when Rahu is in the first house, some ancestor is reborn. So you are born as that ancestor, or that ancestor is reborn in your form. So you're carrying that soul of that ancestor. It's possible. So when Rahu is in the first house, and if Rahu is connected especially to Sun, then definitely it is a Pitra dosha. So you need to do the remedies which I mentioned just now. If Rahu is in the first house, then such people generally they focus a lot on their selves eventually, but even from the very start they can be very self-centric, even selfish. And when Rahu is in the first house, that Rahu can cause illusion, confusion also. Okay, such people, they can be very confused, they can have endless desire for materialistic pursuits. So they can be they can be very much their hunger for gaining things materially, that hunger, that lust, it could be insatiable. They may not know how to satisfy their hunger. That is possible when you have Rahu in the first house. Okay, and it can also cause illusion and confusion, as I have said. And when you have Rahu in the first house, it is good, it can make you intelligent also, and it is good if you are into some sort of research, technology, if you're into the occult, then these things are good for Rahu in the first house. You need to do actually meditation and breathing exercise when Rahu is in the first house. That's very important. Now let's move on to what will happen when Ketu is in the 7th house. When Rahu is in the first, Ketu is in the 7th. So, when Rahu is in the first house, it shows that you are going to focus a lot eventually on your life. You may be confused, you may be in a state of illusion, but you will focus on yourself. Okay, you will be busy satisfying your hunger for things. So you will focus a lot on yourself. You can be very self-centric. This is possible. Okay, now maybe in your previous life you were not taking care of yourself, or you're not focusing on your life. So in this life you have got Rahu in the first house, so you will have to focus now on your life, on your pursuits, on your priorities. Now when you have Ketu in the 7th house, what can we say? That Ketu is also connected to your past life karma. Okay, maybe in your previous life you were focusing a lot on relationship, on forming relationship with people from the opposite gender. You were engaged in that. Okay, So much so that in this lifetime you got Ketu in the 7th house, and so in this lifetime it is a sort of curse or ramification of what you did in your previous life, that in this lifetime you will not be attached to your partner. You can be detached from the kind of relationship that you have with your partner. You may feel detached. You may not be involved in the relationship. You may be disinterested. So that is again what can happen with you in this lifetime when you have Ketu in the 7th house. Alright, so this will happen when this is this 1-7 axis, Rahu in the 1st, Ketu in the 7th. You may not be interested even in independent business also. You may start a business. If you start, you will not be that interested. You may be detached from that. You may encounter obstacles in that. So yeah, all these things can happen when Ketu is in the 7th house. So you may not be able to deal well with people. Okay, whenever you go to deal with people, there may be some quarrel, conflicts. This is possible. So you may be detached. This is possible from the world outside. Ketu in 7th house can detach you not just from your partner but from the world outside. Alright, so you may let go of your relationships, and there could be in your marital life you may encounter problems, or it could even lead to separation with your partner. Now friends, let's move on to the next axis, the 2-8 axis. If Rahu is in the 2nd house, then Ketu will be in the 8th house. Alright. Now Rahu in the 2nd house. If Rahu is associated somehow with Sun in the 2nd house especially, or even Moon, if Rahu is associated with Moon or Sun in the 2nd house, it can be considered to be Pitra dosha. Alright, and Ketu will be in the 8th house. Okay, if Ketu is also associated, say, with Moon, then definitely it is to be considered Pitra dosha. Generally, Moon and Ketu are great enemies, and Sun and Rahu are greatly inimical to each other. Now, what will happen? So you need to do the remedies which I mentioned in the introduction, a part of the video. Okay, if you have missed the introduction, go to the introduction. So you need to do those remedies to please your ancestors and win their blessings. Especially if you have Sun Rahu or even Moon Rahu in the 2nd house. 2nd house is the house of your family. You have Rahu in the 2nd house. You may have some problem in speech. Alright, some difficulty in your speech, and maybe you will start speaking a little late in life. It is possible. Or difficulties in speech, and or your way of speaking will be very different, very unconventional. It could be very strange. Most of the time what you would say, people would not understand. It's possible. When Rahu is in the 2nd house, your food habits also could be strange. You may love food which is foreign foods that belong to foreign culture. You may love that. Okay, you may get into addiction. You may be addicted to drinks and beverages, especially alcohol. So be careful from addiction if you have Rahu in the 2nd house. Now, in your previous life or one of your previous lifetimes, because of which you have got this position of Rahu in the 2nd house, you did not focus on your family. Actually, you were detached from your family. You were detached from even you were detached from your close friends and family. So in this lifetime, you will have to focus on your family. You will be attached to them. You may not get along well with them at times. There may be conflicts with your family members. You may be away from your family members. They may live in a different place altogether. But nevertheless, you have to you have to take care of your family, and you will be attached to your family in some way. This is possible. Okay, you'll have to somehow focus. You will want to focus on your family. Rahu in the second house, you may develop some sort of illicit relationship with somebody within the family. That's possible. Now, when Rahu is in the second house, what else? Money. Yeah, you are not much concerned about money in your previous life. Okay, in this lifetime, you will have great hunger or desire to gain money in life, because Rahu now it's in the second house. You will really want to gain money, and you can even if Rahu is not well posited, look at the dispositor in the chart. Yeah, the native may even adopt unfair means to gain money because they are obsessed with money. That is possible. All right. Now, what will happen when Rahu is in the second house? You have Ketu in the 8th house. Okay, you're so obsessed with money that you may be detached from the intimate relationship that you are supposed to maintain with your life partner. Ketu in the 8th house, you may not be willing to maintain any close, intimate relationship with your life partner. You will encounter problems in your sex life with your spouse. When you have Ketu in the 8th house, you may be secretive about your sexual life. So maybe you are detached from your spouse physically. This may happen. You are so engrossed in earning money, okay, that you are no longer interested in any sort of intimate relationship with your spouse. This is possible with people who have Rahu in the second house. You are chasing your materialistic pursuits so much so that you become even indifferent to your sex life with your spouse, which can cause problems in your marital life. That is possible. People who have Rahu in the second house. All right. Now, Ketu in the 8th house. Maybe in your previous lifetime, you were obsessed with sex or such relationships with people of the opposite gender. So in this lifetime, you may not even be interested in maintaining any sort of sexual relationship. That is possible if you have Ketu in the 8th house. Or there could be another possibility. You could be very secretive about your sexual desires. Okay, you may feel when you have Ketu in the 8th house that your partner cannot fulfill your sexual desires. That is possible, and so you may feel detached from all that. Okay, when Ketu is in the 8th house, you can do very well in the field of occult knowledge. Okay, and you could even focus on that eventually in life. Yes, because Ketu naturally is believed to exalt to some extent. I mean, Ketu is believed to be either exalted or very powerful in the 8th house. So along with age and maturity, you may get drawn towards the field of the occult, and you may believe in seeking the advice or suggestions from astrologers and occultists. You may somehow the world of occult knowledge can fascinate you. That is possible. All right. Now, Ketu in the 8th house. Okay. So, foreign travel can definitely enable you to improve your relationship with your life partner if you undertake foreign travel, because Ketu is connected to foreign travel. Then your the chemistry that you have, or the kind of compatibility, even sexual compatibility that you have with your life partner, that can improve if both of you undertake foreign travel. Now, Ketu, if it is associated with moon especially in the 8th house, it can denote again Pitra dosha. So if it is there is some ancestors, they may not be happy, so you need to do the remedies for Pitra dosha, which I mentioned in the introduction of the video. Okay, Pitra Paksh, Tarpan, making offerings to the ancestors and etc. So do the remedies to seek the blessings and grace of your ancestors if you have Moon Ketu in the 8th house. Now let's move on to the next axis, the 3-9 axis. If Rahu is in the 3rd house, then Ketu will be in the 9th house. What will happen when Rahu is in the 3rd house, Ketu in the 9th? So this is considered to be generally a good placement for, especially when Rahu is in the 3rd house. In the 3rd house, Rahu can make you, can bless you, or rather can bestow you with great desire to make efforts in life. So you will go on trying one thing after another, and you will explore a lot of things. You will have a lot of interest in exploring things, and you will finally, you will want to make efforts. Rahu will make you, because you are obsessed with that. You're obsessed with acquiring skills. You're obsessed with figuring out, as to which direction you need to follow in life. Okay, and you will now, because you have that hunger, that thirst, so you will go on exploring many fields of interest, and finally it can make you successful over time, because this is also an Upachaya house. So you go on making efforts, you will be successful if you have Rahu in the 3rd house. Okay, and you will become very successful in your profession. You can have great communication skills. Your communication skills can make you very attractive, or your way of communicating can be very exceptional and attractive. People will get drawn to you. So you can do very well as into any sort of networking business. If you're a commission agent, if you're in the field of journalism, even if you're a fictional writer, painter, or any sort of artist, player, you can do very well in these fields actually when you have Rahu in the 3rd house. But look at Rahu's dispositor, and also the best remedy for Rahu in the 3rd house is to go on making efforts. Go on making efforts along a certain direction, and over time that will yield results, and you can really be very successful in your endeavors. Okay, and you can be very prosperous in life when you have Rahu in the 3rd house. At times your younger siblings may be far away from you, or at times there could be conflicts with them. This is possible, though you will also be attached to them. But yeah, there could at times be problems with your younger siblings. Now when Rahu will be in the 3rd house, then Ketu will be in the 9th house. Ketu in the 9th house. You can encounter some obstacles in higher education when Ketu is in the 9th house, unless your higher field of study is connected to psychology or occult knowledge, then it's okay. Or maybe if you're studying religious texts, that is okay. Otherwise, if whatever you're studying is not connected to Ketu, then you may encounter difficulties in higher education. Okay, so you should undertake foreign travel for your higher education. You should go to some other place for higher studies. That will be very good actually. Alright, now when you have Ketu in the 9th house, You may be away from your father. That's possible. Okay, you may be away from your father, but you need to take care of your father. That's important. Then Ketu in the 9th house can make you very religious also. Okay, it can make you religious. You may believe in chanting mantras, visiting places of worship, and you may be a very devoted worshipper of some deity as per your religion. It's possible when you have Ketu in the 9th house. Ketu in the 9th house can make you a very good counselor. You can be a very good counselor. You can go into counseling, and you can do very well in the field of counseling. Okay. You can also be a good teacher. You can be a priest. Yeah. When you have Ketu in the 9th house. Now, exploration. 9th house is also the house of exploration. Exploration of various fields of study, acquiring higher knowledge. So if you're really focusing on that, then Ketu can enable you to reach the top. It can make you very successful in the endeavors of higher education. Ketu wants you to be disciplined and focused. If you're disciplined and focused, then over time you will be very successful. Ketu wants you to transform through your higher knowledge when it is in the 9th house. Yeah. So now let's move on to the next position of the next axis. Let's move on to that. So when Rahu is in your Rahu is in your 4th house, what will happen? When Rahu is in your 4th house, Ketu will be in your 8th house. Yes? Okay. So when Rahu is in your 4th house, Ketu will be in your 8th house. 4th house Rahu, again, this is also indicative of some sort of Pitra dosha, especially if Rahu is associated with moon in the 4th house. It can show Pitra dosha. Yes. So Rahu in the 4th house, then you need to do the remedies for Pitra dosha to please your ancestors. Okay. Rahu in the 4th house. In your previous lifetime, you were not focusing on your own house, like on your domestic matters or on your family matters. You were detached in your previous life. So in this lifetime, you have to focus on your home, on your family matters. You really need to focus on that. Okay. So yeah, I mean, so that's what will happen with you when you have Rahu in the 4th house. You may at times feel restless in your house. You may want to go away from your house. You may have problems with your mother. You may also, have a house in a foreign land. It is possible. But nevertheless, you will be attached to your home. You will have a lot of attachment for your home, and you will also be attached to your mother when you have Rahu in the 4th house. So in this lifetime, you need to focus on your home, and you will focus a lot on your home. You will be attached to your home and family matters like anything. Okay. So when you have Rahu, you may also love to be at your house. So this can happen, especially when Rahu's dispositor is well posited in the chart. You may just want to be at your house. You may not want to go away anywhere else. It is possible. But again, Rahu is also connected to foreign land. So there is a possibility that you may have a home in a foreign land. Or eventually you may move to a foreign land and stay there. That is also possible. When Rahu is in the 4th house, then definitely, even if you have difference of opinion with your mother, you need to look after your mother. Yeah. And you may be obsessed with even moon. This is the house of moon. Cancer sign is there, so you may be obsessed with even cash. You may want to have assets in life. That will be the focus of your life. And this is actually the fourth house is the house of Cancer. Here we have the water sign. So this is a part of the Moksha Trikona. So water sign, originally Cancer is there. So this is the house of intuition also. So when you have Rahu in the fourth house, such people can have great intuition also. Okay, that is possible. So if they move into the field of occult knowledge or psychology, if they do any sort of research, technology, so these fields can give them good results when you have, and they can be intelligent actually when you have Rahu in the fourth house. All right. Yeah. They will have a way of understanding things, and they will have a way of seeing things. So other people may not be able to, see things the way they will be able to see. So Rahu can make you very intelligent and can give you mysterious insights into things, into reality. It's possible when you have Rahu in the fourth house. Now, if it is forming conjunction there in the fourth house with moon, do the remedies for Pitra dosha, which I mentioned in the beginning of the video. When Rahu is in the fourth house, then Ketu will be in your 10th house. You will have Ketu in your 10th house. Some obstacles you may encounter in your profession. It is possible. Unless your profession is connected to the occult, technology, even if it's connected to technology, there can be changes in profession. It's possible. So Ketu in the 10th house wants you to transform you through your profession. You may be at times detached from your work. In your previous life, you were focusing so much on work that in this lifetime, you're not much interested in work. This can also happen because you're so confused. You don't know, initial part of your life, you'll be confused. You don't know which line of profession to choose and all that, so you could be detached from your work. But Ketu actually wants you to focus on work, wants you to be disciplined, methodical, regular and systematic in your work. So that is the key to success in your professional life when you have Ketu in the 10th house. Alright? Yeah. Undertaking foreign travel because of work, that could be beneficial for you. Okay? Yeah, at times you may enter into conflicts with people in position and power. Be careful. Avoid all that. That's important. Now let's move on to what will happen when Rahu is in the 5th house. The 5-11 axis. When Rahu in the 5th house, you have Ketu in the 11th house. What will happen? When Rahu in the 5th house, especially if Rahu is in conjunction with Sun in the 5th house, then definitely it is Pitra dosha. So you need to do the remedies for Pitra dosha and please your ancestors. I have mentioned a few remedies in the introduction of the video. Do follow that. Then Rahu in the 5th house, if it is there, you may encounter certain obstacles in your education. It's possible. You may need to seek education in a foreign land. You may be very much attached to your child, but again you may have difference of opinion or problems with your child. Your child may be someone who's very difficult to control, but nevertheless you may be very attached to your child. This is possible when you have Rahu in the 5th house. So Rahu in the 5th house, you can do very well if you are into any sort of mystical knowledge. If you want to explore any kind of hidden knowledge, you will do very well, because 5th house is the house of knowledge and Rahu is connected to secrecy. So yeah, you can be into occult knowledge also. You can do very well even if you are into the field of psychology, okay, when you have Rahu in the 5th house. Now 5th house is the house of where you have the Leo sign, okay. Leo sign is a fire sign. So you have a great desire to bring about a positive change in your life. You want to get fortunate in life, okay, with the help of your knowledge. You believe that you have acquired some knowledge and you have some power, and you want to bring about a positive change in this world, or you want to change things. Actually, you want to revolutionize things also. This is possible when you have Rahu in the 5th house. So yeah, be careful. I mean, when you have Rahu in the 5th house, and if Rahu's dispositor is not so well posited, then such people may go into even black magic to acquire power, okay, so that they can mold and change things according to their wish, whims, to their own advantage, according to their own convenience. They can do all of that for their own benefits. So when Rahu's dispositor is not well posited, then you may get into tantric practices which are connected to black magic or necromancy also. So be careful. So that is also the placement when you have Rahu in the 5th house. And if you want to use your knowledge for harming others, okay, you're using your knowledge to harm others for your own selfish motives, then it's not going to do any good to you, because eventually you will have to pay for your negative karmas. All right. Now, when you have, you will be obsessed with acquiring knowledge that is possible. Some knowledge which can make you powerful. It will be good if you acquire knowledge of, say, astrology, for example, and if you are determined to help others and spread the light, then that will be good. Next, when you have Rahu in the 5th house, you have Ketu in the 11th house. You could be detached from your social circle. That's possible. Ketu in the 11th house. You could have some conflicts with your elder siblings. It's possible. But you need to take care of them when you have Ketu in the 11th house. Alright. So, because Ketu is connected to your past life. So you have some past life connection with your elder siblings. Okay. There could be difference of opinion with them. You could feel detached from them. But nevertheless, you need to take care of them. You need to fulfill that, pending karma in this lifetime. Because you have past life connection with your elder siblings. So you need to take care of them. So if you are responsible, if you shoulder your responsibility towards them, and if you, are kind of, maybe if you are kind or devoted to them, then you will be eventually blessed by them when you have Ketu in the 11th house. You can gain from your endeavors in delving into the field of the occult. So when anything which is connected to technology, research, the occult, anything which is connected to even chartered accountancy, anything which is connected to exploring any sort of hidden, mysterious or mystical knowledge. So you can gain from all of those endeavors. That is possible when you have Ketu in the 11th house. Alright? Okay. Now, what else, friends? When you have, you may be, at times you may feel you are detached from the gains that you acquire from your profession. You may acquire money, You may gain because of the relationships or whatever networking relationships or whatever, from your association with people in the social circle. So you may gain from that also, but you may be detached from all of that. At times you may feel that I'm not attached to all of that, and you may be, that's why you may even remain away from your social circle. That is also possible when you have Ketu in the 11th house. Okay, yeah. So in your previous lifetime you were so obsessed with your gains in life, with networking with people and gaining from associations with people. You were very much obsessed with all of that in your previous lifetime. So in this lifetime you are not much interested in any of these things. You may feel isolated from them. You may want to isolate yourself from even your social circle. That's possible. Now let's move on to the next placement. When you have Rahu in the 6th house, what will happen? Rahu in the 6th house, the 6-12 axis, then Ketu will be in the 12th house. Okay? When Rahu is in the 6th house, especially if Rahu is in the 6th house with Sun, again it can form a sort of Pitra dosha, and 6th house is the house of your prarabdha karma. Okay, so that house, you cannot question what that house is going to do to you in this lifetime. I mean, remedies also generally cannot be performed because it is your prarabdha karma. You are destined to face the consequences of your karma in your previous lifetime, and that is your prarabdha karma. So because of that, certain actions you will have to face those consequences in this lifetime. So that is why 6th house is the house of prarabdha karma. So you will have to do the kind of things which you'll have to do connected to the 6th house. You will have to do them to fulfill the pending karma which is in the form of prarabdha karma in your 6th house. You're destined to do all of that. Okay, only then your soul can move ahead towards liberation, and otherwise you will be stuck. You will have to do it. Means you have no choice actually. You'll have to face whatever is there in the 6th house. So if you have Sun, Rahu, definitely it is Pitra dosha. So you need to do remedies of Pitra dosha, and you need to definitely seek the blessings of your ancestors. Very important. That is something you have to do. Okay, so definitely what you have to face, but at least if you win their blessings and grace, then maybe that can enable you to face the consequences in a better way. You may be well equipped to face them. That may be possible. Now Sun Rahu, if it is there especially, then definitely it can show that your father may have problems in their life. They could be in a state of illusion. They could always be confused in life. There could be lack of peace of mind. Okay, your father could be very materialistic and always after certain, they could run after certain desires, fulfillment of certain desires, and they could never be satisfied. It could be any sort of materialistic pursuit, either the desire for money or the desire for bodily pleasures, anything it could be. Now if Rahu is there in the 6th house, now we are not talking about Sun, say only Rahu in the 6th house, then what we can say, that means you need to focus on your day-to-day job. Okay, you will focus on that. It can give you great insights, because originally this is the house of Mercury, earth sign, and when Rahu is in the 6th house, it is generally considered to be good for your pursuits in profession. It can make you very intelligent. It can give you great intellectual power, great capability to analyze things, and analytical ability. So that can make you successful in your profession. That is possible when you have an overtime, because it's an Upachaya house. So you will be successful in your profession. If you're really focusing on your work, day-to-day work, you will succeed. Okay. Now Rahu in the 6th house. What else? You may be attached to your pets. You may later on you may focus on some sort of social service. That is possible. You should do social service actually when you have Rahu in the 6th house. Now what will happen when Rahu is in the 6th house? Ketu will be in the 12th house. So Rahu can make you very practical when you have Rahu in the 6th house. Okay. Now you have Ketu in the 12th house. So Ketu in the 12th house can show that you can eventually, as I said, you can move towards spirituality, charity. So Ketu in the 12th house will kind of it can inspire you to move towards charity, spirituality eventually in life. Okay, that is possible. You can move towards you may become charitable, because Ketu is the planet of liberation and moksha. It is now in the 12th house of spirituality. So Ketu is also actually your focus in life. So eventually, but Ketu matures after the age of 50, 52. From the age of 52 onwards, it makes you very mature and sensible and sensitive to your environment, and you become charitable, compassionate towards others, towards all beings. Okay, so you can turn towards spirituality and self-realization also when you have Ketu in the 12th house. When you have Ketu in the 12th house, you can undertake foreign travel. That is possible. Okay, so Rahu in the 6th house you have, so foreign travel because of job is possible. Or you may want to travel to a foreign place to settle down there eventually. You may want to do that eventually. That is also possible. Ketu in the 12th house can also give you insights into any sort of spiritual knowledge, mystical knowledge. You can be into yoga, meditation. You can be an occultist. You can be into any form of the occult, like astrology, tarot. You can do very well actually when you have Ketu in the 12th house, because Ketu, the planet of intuition, is again in the house of intuition. So you can be very intuitive. Okay, so this is the water sign. So when you have this axis actually, Rahu Ketu in this 6-12 axis, Rahu in 6, Ketu in 12, initially you will be very much materialistic and you will focus on your work a lot. You'll be very practical. Eventually you can move towards spirituality, and eventually you may also want to do research and in any sort of field, or you may move towards occult knowledge, spirituality, yoga, meditation. All these things are possible, and your intuition power can develop a lot. Now let's move on to the next axis. When Rahu is in the 7th house, then Ketu will be in the 1st house. What will happen? When Rahu is in the 7th house, Ketu is in the 1st house. Alright? So this will show that if Rahu is in the 7th house with Sun, okay, then definitely this can also be considered to be a sort of Pitra dosha. Okay, and you have so you need to do remedies for the Pitra dosha and please your ancestors. I mentioned the remedies in the introduction of the video. Now if you have Rahu in the 7th house, say just Rahu, then you may focus a lot on your relationship. Okay, you may be interested in forming relationship with people from the opposite gender. You know, you may love that. It's possible. And if you're not happy with your partner or spouse, you may maintain secret relationship with somebody even outside your marriage when you have Rahu in the 7th house. That's possible. Now, Rahu in the 7th house, actually you need to focus on your marital life. Yes, that is important, but you need to be faithful to your partner. That is a remedy for Rahu in the 7th house. If your life partner is from a different culture, then definitely the marital life can be better, okay, because Rahu shows foreign culture. Now, when Rahu is in the 7th house, Ketu will be in the 1st house, okay. So you could be, in your previous life, you were very selfish, maybe focusing a lot on yourself only all the time. So in this lifetime, you got Ketu in the 1st house. You'll be detached from your own life, from your own self. You will not focus much on your own self, or like you will not be much interested initially in life, okay? Not always initially, until you decide on what you want to do in life. Initially you will be confused. Ketu can cause illusion, confusion, because Ketu is a headless planet, okay. Ketu can cause mainly confusion. So because you will not know, you will not be able to figure out the purpose of your life, and you'll be kind of disinterested. This can happen, okay, detached from things pertaining to your own life until you find the purpose of your life. Once you find the purpose of your life, if you have Ketu in the 1st house, then you will, and you're ready to work towards your goal, your purpose, you're ready to work hard for it. No one can stop you, because Ketu is also the flag of victory. So it can make you very successful, but the condition is that you have to figure out what is the purpose of your life, what is the goal of your life. So definitely, first of all, you have to think of your profession, okay. It is actually your profession which enables you to establish yourself in this world. We cannot deny that. So first of all, we need to establish ourselves in our profession, and after that, when you are in a position, you know, to from there, when you are more or less successful and you've established yourself, so from there you can think of charity, you can think of doing social service and everything. But before that, you need to establish your identity. That's very important. So Ketu will enable you to, Ketu actually, if it's well placed, look at the dispositor of Ketu. If it is well placed, you will figure out early in life. You will find out what's your goal in life. If it is not well placed, you can be confused in life, and you can encounter obstacles in your endeavors, in your life in general. So it's very important. So if you're really confused, you need to seek guidance of some guru who can guide you and enable you to know what should be the focus of your life when you have Ketu in the 1st house. Yes. All right. And eventually, definitely, along with maturity, after you have established your identity, you can turn towards spirituality and self-realization also. Now let's move on to the next placement. It's going to be a long video. I never thought. I'm a little worried now. Anyway, we have to carry on. So when you have Rahu, what will happen when you have Rahu in the 8th house? When you have Rahu in the 8th house, this is again 8th house. Here you have the water sign, which is a Scorpio. It can give you great intuition. You could do very well if you're associated with the field of occult knowledge or technology, or anything which is connected to the insurance companies or chartered accountancy or research. You can do very well when you have Rahu in the 8th house. It can give you great insights into reality. It can give you great intuition actually, okay, when you have Rahu in the 8th house. Now Rahu in the 8th house, you may develop extramarital relationship. That's possible with someone. You may be secretive about your sex life. Okay, that is possible. So you need to avoid all that. Okay, otherwise that can cause problems. Your marital life could be in trouble. It's not good for your own journey as well. Okay. Now when Rahu in the 8th house, then especially if Rahu is connected to Sun in the 8th house, then we can say that definitely there is Pitra dosha in the chart. So Rahu in the 8th house, if it is there, then Ketu will be in your 2nd house. Okay. So 8th house Rahu, you need to, if it's especially associated somehow with Sun, then you need to do the remedies for Pitra dosha mentioned in the beginning of the video and please your ancestors. You need to undertake travel to certain places with your life partner, so that, and you need to that will improve the chemistry or the relationship that you have, the kind of intimate relationship that you share with each other. So you need to travel to some foreign place with your life partner. That is a good remedy for Rahu in the 8th house. Now you may also have Ketu. Now look at Ketu's placement. Ketu will be in the 2nd house. Ketu in the 2nd house, especially if it is associated with moon, that also is a Pitra dosha. Okay, so do the remedies for the Pitra dosha mentioned in the introduction. Now if Ketu say is just in the 2nd house and some obstacles in attaining speech ability is possible, Ketu in the 2nd house can show that you can be detached from your family members. Ketu in the 2nd house can show that whenever you speak, you may your speech can make you end up in conflicts with people. Your speech can lead to conflicts. So when you have Ketu in the 2nd house, you may not like to speak much. So that is good actually for you. So you may not like to speak much in the to people. So that is good. Observe silence actually. Observe silence, that is better. But if Ketu's dispositor is well placed in the chart, then whenever you will speak with knowledge and you will provide deep insights to people. If Ketu's dispositor is well placed, then you will get good results. Okay. Otherwise, you will enter into conflicts with people. You can hurt people with your speech. So it's better to speak less and observe silence. When Ketu is in the 2nd house, there could be some restrictions in your diet, food. You may need to abstain from certain drinks and food stuff. It's possible. When Ketu is in the 2nd house, you may encounter obstacles in accumulating wealth, problems in attaining wealth and accumulating wealth. This can happen unless you are accumulating wealth using the energy of Ketu, which is connected to the field of occult knowledge, technology, research, etc. Or Ketu is connected to your ancestors. If you're doing some profession which your ancestors used to do, then you can gain wealth. Okay? Yeah. So Ketu in the 2nd house can detach you, you may feel detached from family, you may feel detached from wealth. So this is possible. Initially in life this can happen. Okay, so in your previous life maybe you were so obsessed with wealth, so in this life you have got Ketu in the 2nd house. You may not know how to accumulate wealth. You may at times be worried about wealth also, and you may also feel detached from wealth. You may be confused as to how you can accumulate wealth. All these things can happen. So you need to look inwards. You need to connect with the divine actually. And then once you connect with your inner self, and Ketu is focus actually. So when you connect with your inner self, you figure out the purpose of your life, then you will be able to eventually accumulate wealth in life. Ketu is repetitive work, discipline, being methodical, systematic. So if you are regular and systematic and disciplined in your work, then you can end up accumulating wealth. But discipline is very important. Now let's move on to the next placement. Oh my god, this video is getting longer. Please excuse me friends, because the topic is very huge actually. Now what will happen when you have Rahu in the 9th house? When you have Rahu in the 9th house, Ketu will be in the 3rd house. Rahu in the 9th house, especially if it is associated with Sun, is definitely Pitra dosha in your chart. So you need to do remedies for Rahu. For your Pitra dosha, and remedies for Rahu as well. Mentioned in the beginning of the video, the remedies for Pitra dosha. Follow those remedies. Now remedies even for Rahu, when you have Rahu in the 9th house. Going away to a different place for higher education. That is a very good remedy, because otherwise you may encounter obstacles in higher education. Unless your higher field of knowledge is connected to occult or research, only then it could be alright. If it is connected to psychology, otherwise you may have to go to a different place and acquire knowledge, higher knowledge. It's possible. Rahu in the 9th house people, they may initially in life, they may have a tendency to adopt unfair means to get fortunate in life. So that is something which they need to give up, that tendency. You may have problems with your father, but at the same time you may be away from your father, but you will be attached to your father. It's possible. You need to take care of your father when you have Rahu in the 9th house. Your father may be someone who's very materialistic, whatever. You need not judge your father. You need to look after your father when you have Rahu in the 9th house. Now friends, when you have Rahu in the 9th house, what else we can say? You will get opportunity to travel to foreign lands. Definitely during the dasha of Rahu, you will definitely get opportunities to travel to foreign places. It's possible. You may love to travel. You may be obsessed with foreign travel. This can happen. So maybe in your previous life you neglected your father. So in this lifetime you need to take care of your father. That's also possible. Then you need to focus on your higher knowledge. That will give you good results actually. Focus on your knowledge, but don't use or misuse your knowledge to harm others and to reap benefits for yourself. No, for your selfish motives, you're using your tantric knowledge to harm someone, to control someone, just because you want to benefit from that deal. So that you shouldn't do. Don't do that. Don't misuse the power of your knowledge. So that you shouldn't do when you have Rahu in the 9th house. Because everything will come full circle, because if you do that, it will eventually backfire, and it will eventually bring about negative consequences for you. So never misuse your knowledge to harm others for your own benefit. Don't do that. Don't go into black magic, necromancy and all that. Now when Rahu is in the 9th house, Ketu is in the 3rd house. Ketu is in the 3rd house, what will happen? Okay, you could be detached from your own efforts. You could be looking for shortcuts to get fortunate in life. And you are not so interested in working hard. This is possible when you have Ketu in the 3rd house. Okay, not interested in making efforts. Okay, lack of courage, lack of willpower, lack of the desire to make initiative. Okay, you don't want to take any initiative, you don't want to work hard. This is possible when you have Ketu in the 3rd house. Be careful. Alright, or you could be confused because Ketu can give you a lot of confusion. You know what I should do, what should be, what skill I should acquire. I am so confused because Ketu is a headless planet. So you may not know. You may do something for a while and then you may leave that unfinished. Then again start something else because you're so confused. This is possible. Leaving things half done, unfinished, and not knowing what should be your goal in life and along which direction you need to make efforts to fulfill the purpose of your life. You may not know when you have Ketu in the 3rd house. So what you need to do, if you are very confused and if you are not able to figure out even until the age of 30, then you definitely should seek the help of some guru or astrologer who can guide you, alright, and enable you to know the path of your life, to know the purpose of your life. It's very important. And once you start focusing, Ketu is focus. You focus on your efforts, you really work hard, then there is no looking back because Ketu will also enable you to become victorious only if you focus, only if you're willing to make efforts, only if you're disciplined, methodical and systematic in making efforts to reach your goal in life. Then Ketu will give you wonderful results in the 3rd house. And your speech, your communication skills, you could speak with so much of knowledge when you have Ketu. Whenever you speak, you could provide insights to people. Okay, that is possible when you have Ketu in the 3rd house. This will happen when you're focusing on your efforts and you are, trying to excel in your field. Then eventually you can be a very good consultant also. Yes, you can do well. Your communication skills can develop eventually over time with your knowledge, with enhancement of your knowledge. And when you go on making efforts along a particular direction, that will also eventually enrich your communication ability. You can guide people. You can be very good consultant, guide, teacher also when you have Ketu in the 3rd house eventually. But for that, first of all, you will have to focus on your efforts. Okay? Yeah. Then Ketu in the 3rd house, it can also eventually, it can enable you, it can give you, it can make you any field you can do well. Any field connected to investigation, research, even journalism, the field of law, wherever you need to use your insights, your intuition, communication skills, you will do well once you know the purpose of your life. Okay, 3rd house is a house ruled by Gemini originally. Gemini is an air sign. Okay, and so this is a sign of intellect, air sign. So once you move towards knowledge and you focus on knowledge on a particular field, you want to acquire knowledge in a certain field, and you go on making efforts methodically, then you will attain great knowledge and you will also become successful in life. This is possible. Now what will happen when you have Rahu in the let's move on to the next axis. When Rahu is in the 10th house. When Rahu is in the 10th house, then Ketu will be in your 4th house. Alright. Rahu in the 10th, Ketu in the 4th. Okay, Rahu in the 10th house, if it is there in the 10th house with Sun, definitely it is Pitra dosha. Sun Rahu combination in the 10th house is Pitra dosha, and you have to do remedies for Pitra dosha and please your ancestors. I've mentioned the remedies in the introduction of the video. Do follow that. And Rahu, say you have Rahu in the 10th house, what will happen? You may be under some illusion regarding the kind of profession that you need to follow. You may not know actually, because Rahu will cause illusion. So initially you may be doing something, and maybe for some time, for quite a considerable period of time, you've been doing something. Later on you will realize, oh, that is not what I want to do. I want to do something else. That is possible, because Rahu can confuse you. If your profession is connected to occult knowledge, to research, to technology, to anything which is connected to hidden, secretive, mysterious knowledge, anything which is connected to confidential knowledge, you will do well. If you need to travel for your profession to foreign places, you will do it very well when you have Rahu in the 10th house. Okay, you may have conflicts with people, problems with people at your workplace. So never enter into conflicts with your seniors especially, or superiors. Do not do that. That can cause problems in your professional life. When you have Rahu in the 10th house, that's what you may enter into problems with people in position and power. So you need to be careful. Do not stay away from such conflicts. When you have Rahu in the 10th house, what else we can say? You will be obsessed with your work. You will be obsessed. You can be obsessed with your profession and work. No matter how hard you work, no matter how well you do, no matter what you achieve, it can always be a little less for you. You may feel, oh, I could achieve more. Oh, I could do more. Oh, I'm capable of doing more. And you want more and more and more, because Rahu is endless hunger and desire. The desire to achieve more in your profession. That's why when you have Rahu in the 10th house, it's a very good placement actually. It can make you very successful in your career. Rahu in 10th house. It's very good for your career if you are really willing to make efforts. But again, Rahu is adopting unfair means also. So how is Rahu's dispositor placed in the chart? That you have to look at. If Rahu's dispositor is well placed in the chart, you will be obsessed with your work and you will work very hard, and that's very good. But if Rahu's dispositor is not well placed in the chart, then what will happen? Then you may adopt unfair means in your work. You may adopt shortcuts. So that will backfire again. So be careful. Okay? So Rahu will give you, otherwise Rahu can give you wonderful results in the 10th house. It can make you reach the top. Okay? You can be at the very top in whichever field you are. You can, because Rahu is actually the kingmaker, or you can say Rahu is that planet which is considered to be, in a way, the king of all planets in the Kali Yuga. This is the Kali Yuga. Okay, so in this age, Rahu is believed to rule the world. Okay, so if you are obsessed with your work in a constructive way, then no one can stop you from dominating everyone else, and no one can stop you from becoming very successful. This position is very good also for doing your own independent business. Okay, when you are doing, because you have a strange way of doing things, and so you are generally not willing to follow dictates of others when you have Rahu in the 10th house. So if you eventually, even if initially you're into job, eventually if you consider moving into your own business or doing something of your own, then you could be very successful in your business actually, provided you know what business you're supposed to do, depending again on your area of interest also. You must have interest You must know how to do your business, then definitely no one can stop you. This is a very good placement, Rahu in the 10th house, for becoming successful in your career. Now when you have Rahu in the 10th house, you have Ketu in the 4th house. Ketu in the 4th house, especially if Ketu is with Moon in the 4th house, this is again formation of Pitra dosha. You need to do remedies. Seriously, you need to do the remedies for Pitra dosha as mentioned in the introduction of this video. If you've skipped the introduction, please go to it. Okay, do the remedies to please your ancestors, very important, so that they can bless you and you can move ahead in life. All right. Now, Ketu in the 4th house, you may be detached from your mother. You may be away from your mother, it's possible. You may have conflicts with your mother, that's possible. You may love your mother, no doubt, but you may have problems with your mother. Again, this will happen when Ketu is in the 4th house. Okay, you may even be concerned about your mother, but you may enter into conflicts with your mother. This is possible. Okay, so when you have Ketu in the 4th house, then you need to do one remedy. What is that? Don't judge your mother. No matter how she is your mother. So you need to look after your mother. That is the best remedy for Ketu in the 4th house. Just look after your mother, look after her needs. Okay? And you will see eventually you will be blessed with peace of mind and even wealth in life. If you look after your mother, that is the greatest remedy for Ketu in the 4th house. Within the 4 walls of your home, you may feel restless. You may feel, you may feel as if there is some lack of peace, and you may not feel somehow happy at your own house or in your own homeland. So Ketu in the 4th house can enable you to move away from your homeland and to find a home in a foreign land. That's possible. Ketu in the 4th house. 4th house is the house originally where you have the sign of Cancer ruled by Moon. Cancer is a water sign, so it is a sign of intuition. So people who have Ketu in the 4th house can have great intuitive ability. They can be blessed with great intuition power. They can move into the field of occult knowledge, actually, when you have Ketu in the 4th house. Or they can use their intuition very well in their work, in their day-to-day life. Okay? When you have Ketu in the 4th house, you may be, somehow spiritually connected, spiritually attached to things that are connected to your home. Even the inanimate things inside your home, you may talk to them, you may have a spiritual bond with them. That is possible. You may have a way of understanding them. You may feel they respond to your emotions. That's possible when you have Ketu in the 4th house. When you have Ketu in the 4th house, what else we can say, friends? Ketu in the 4th house, you should move into you can move into the field of occult knowledge. You can move into meditation that will enhance your power of intuition. Okay? Yeah. And you need to look after your house. You need to look after your mother. Now let's move to the next placement. When you have Rahu, my goodness, this video, look at the length. I'm so sorry, friends. This topic is huge, actually. When you have Rahu in the 11th house, what will happen? When you have Rahu in the 11th house, then Ketu will be in the 5th house. Okay. Rahu in the 11th house. 11th house is the house of Aquarius, which is an air sign, but it is also the part of the Kama Trikona, the Trikona of desire. So when you have Rahu in the 11th house, you will be desirous of gaining more and more and more in life. Nothing will be enough for you. Okay, you will want to achieve more in life. Okay, you'll run after materialistic pursuits. Rahu in the 11th house can also make you very intelligent, because 11th house is also the house of research. If you're into any field of knowledge which requires analytical study, which requires in-depth study, research, any field of study which is connected to even exploration of hidden knowledge, mysterious knowledge, secretive knowledge, occult knowledge, you can gain a lot from such professions. Even psychology, if you try to understand or decipher the workings of the subconscious mind, and you excel in psychology. So whatever is hidden, mysterious, secret, if you go after that, you will do well. If you travel, you go to a foreign land, you can gain more in life. You can be, gain a lot. You can be more prosperous if you move to a foreign land. When you have Rahu in the 11th house, what else we can say? You will, because this is the ultimate house of desire, so you will be hungry, you will have endless, insatiable hunger for gains, for money, wealth, for power. It could be, because this is the house of desire, so you want to achieve things in life, and definitely you will want to either you will run after acquiring knowledge, more and more knowledge. If you're using your knowledge for the benefit of mankind, for the good of the people around you, then that's very good. But if misusing your knowledge, some black magic, you've learned black magic and you're using that to harm others, then it is not good. Then it will not give you good results eventually. Eventually you will become miserable and you will have to face the consequences of your own karma. Okay? But if you're using your knowledge, you want to acquire more and more knowledge, you're doing research, you're acquiring knowledge, you can be a scientist, you can be an occultist, you can do research in the field of law, medicine, medical science, and you're doing that research for the good of humanity, then you will do very well in life and you will be the real gainer in life, and that can make you very wealthy, very prosperous in life actually, when you have Rahu in the 11th house. But do not adopt unfair means or shortcuts to gain in life. You should not do that, okay? Otherwise that will again entail negative consequences. When you have Rahu in the 11th house, you have Ketu in the 5th house. Wow, Ketu in the 5th house can bless you with great intuition. You can have great intuitive powers when you have Ketu in the 5th house. So you can move towards occult knowledge, you can move towards mantra sadhana, you can chant mantras and gain mystical powers also. Alright, you can be a very good healer. You can have great speculative powers when you have Ketu in the 5th house. Okay, you can benefit from speculation, you can benefit from healing others, you can benefit from using your intuition along a proper direction for the benefit of mankind. You can do all of that when you have Ketu in the 5th house. Alright, Ketu in the 5th house is a very good position of Ketu, and it can help you become an astrologer, yes, an occultist. It can also enable you to do well in the field of law. Yes, you can do very well in the field of law. You can do very well in any sort of research. If you're doing any sort of research to acquire knowledge, you can do very well. You may be detached from your child or children. You may be away from your child. That's possible. Or you may have conflicts with your child. Or you may have encounter obstacles in childbirth. That is possible. Okay? This can happen. Now, when you have Ketu in the 5th house, the remedy is that you need to, if you have a child, you need to really look after your child. Okay? That's important. Now, you will love your child, but you may be detached from your child because of the conflicts and problems, difference of opinion. But you need to shoulder your responsibility towards your child. That's it. Just do your responsibility. Do not expect anything in return. Just let your child grow and, be happy in life. That's it. So expectation is a burden actually. We should never have expectations from anybody, whosoever that might be. So yeah, now Ketu in the 5th house. Okay, so all these things, obstacles in encountering education, in attaining education. You may encounter obstacles in that field. Yeah. So you may have to undertake foreign travel for your education. If your education, the field of study, is connected to anything which is hidden, mysterious, mystical, or if you're doing a study in technology, psychology, you will get very good results. Now let's move on to the next placement. I hope that is the final placement. Yes, when you have Rahu in the 12th house, and when you have Rahu in the 12th house, you will have Ketu in the 6th house. 12-6 axis. What does it say? When you have Rahu in the 12th house, you have Ketu in your 6th house. First we'll talk about Rahu in the 12th house. 12th house Rahu, you will focus on things which are idealistic, imaginative. You may be, at times it can make you very impractical also when you have Rahu in the 12th. No matter, I have seen, people, their moon is so well placed, and maybe moon is in Capricorn and very well placed, but even then, if they have Rahu in 12th house, they run after illusions. They are obsessed with their own world of imagination. This happens. And they have a good placement of moon in spite of that, because you see how powerful Rahu is actually. In this Kali Yuga, Rahu dictates you actually, because we are all controlled so much by our desires. So they may be so confused, so lost in life. This can happen, especially during the dasha, antardasha, any sort of dasha of Rahu. This can happen. Such people, they can be very confused, very lost. They may run after certain things which are totally idealistic, have nothing to do with reality. They may run after people who actually have no practical existence in their life. Okay, they are running after people who actually have no meaningful existence in their life, but they will run after those people. It's possible. Okay, because they now, they are obsessed with their world of imagination. This is possible. So 12th house is also the house of bed pleasures. So they may develop illicit relationship with somebody, and they may have a secretive relationship with someone outside marriage. It is possible. Okay. Now they may have strange desires, okay, in bed. That is also possible. When Rahu is in the 12th house, what else? Such people should not go out alone in the dark, because they have hidden enemies also. They do not know, but they have certain hidden enemies who can harm them. They should never go out alone in the dark. And these people, they are also obsessed with their hidden fears when you have Rahu in the 12th house. Okay, they have hidden fears, and they are so attached to those hidden fears. Most of it could be very unreal also, but they believe that, oh my God, what if this happens, what if that happens? I told you, when Rahu is in the 12th house, people then can become very, very, they may live in their world, in their make-believe world of imagination. This is very good for becoming a great fictional writer again, because now your power of imagination will be expanded. You'll be able to imagine things in a very different, extraordinary way. So it's a very good placement for becoming a writer of fiction. It's very good for moving into the field of occult knowledge, doing research, meditation, yoga. For that it is very good. Okay, because you will have insights. Your imagination will enable you to look at reality from a different perspective. Okay, especially if Rahu's dispositor is well placed, then your imagination will enable you to have mysterious insights into reality also. So then, and your way of interpreting reality, your way of looking at the world can be very different, can be very exceptional and unique. So if you are moving into any sort of spiritual practice, if you're moving into any sort of occult practice, it's very good. Because 12th house is the house of Pisces. Pisces is a water sign, and 12th house is part of the Moksha Trikona. And this is also the house of intuition and the subconscious mind. So when Rahu is there, you will do very well if you're moving into the field of psychology. If you're moving into occult knowledge, you will excel. Okay? Yeah, and if you will have a great desire to settle down in a foreign land. And if you are able to settle down in a foreign land, that can be good for you. Okay? So if you get the opportunity to settle down in a foreign land, you should settle down in a foreign land. If you have Rahu in Rahu in the 12th house, but Rahu in the 12th house, if it is in conjunction with Sun, again it can form Pitra dosha. So you need to do remedies for Pitra dosha as mentioned in the introduction of the video. Okay? So do the remedies to please your ancestors, very important. When you have Rahu in the 12th house, you can go into the occult, you can be a great fictional writer, you can be a very good painter, you can do very well in the field of creativity. You can be very artistic and creative actually. Yes. If you move towards the field of, towards any field of creativity, any field of art, your artistic and creative abilities can be very unique, and they can set you apart from the others when you have Rahu in the 12th house. So these fields can be good for you. And your way of spending, Rahu will magnify everything. So you may spend a lot. So you need to be careful. You may spend a lot. When Rahu in the 12th, Ketu is in the 6th house. So Ketu shows problems, obstacles in life. And 6th house is also the house of loan. So there is a possibility that such people may take loans, and then they will have, they will have to, because they have taken loan and they have spent all the money. Yes. And now they're encountering problems. Yes. They're encountering problems in their day-to-day life. They're having problems in meeting their day-to-day expenses because they have Ketu in the 6th house. So be careful about your loans and do not indulge in unnecessary expenditure when you have Rahu in the 12th house. Do not engage in such expenditures. Okay? So you may be obsessed with spending on things. Instead, you should be obsessed with investment, making some investments for your future. That's what you need to focus on. Now when Rahu is in the 12th house, Ketu will be in the 6th house. Ketu in the 6th house. Ketu shows that you need to be focused and disciplined and methodical in your day-to-day life. Though you may encounter obstacles in doing that, but you have to be methodical. That's what Ketu wants you to do. Only then your life will get transformed for the better. There will be a positive transformation in your life. Okay? When you are methodical and systematic in your day-to-day life. Okay? that can transform your life for the better. So when Ketu is in the 6th house, you need to be very systematic, regular, disciplined, methodical in your day-to-day work. Okay, you need to be goal-oriented. You need to focus on your goal. Ketu in the 6th house is a very good placement for going into the field of law, for becoming a lawyer, a mediator in disputes, for becoming a counselor who can resolve conflicts. Okay, Ketu in the 6th house can enable you to become a very good surgeon, or you can also go into the field of medical profession when you have Ketu in the 6th house. Ketu in the 6th house, you need to focus on your day-to-day life, on your routine, on your job. Very important. Ketu in the 6th house can give you great intellectual insights into reality, because that is the house of Mercury, where you have the sign of Virgo, which is an earth sign. If you're making efforts regularly on a day-to-day basis, if you're grounded, if you're practical, then you can really succeed in your job and in your life. Okay, so when you have Ketu in the 6th house, you may at times feel detached from your job. This can happen when you have Ketu in the 6th house. But you have to remember that, you have to ask yourself, what is the purpose of your life? Finally, you will have to establish yourself. In order to establish yourself in this life, you need to adopt some profession, and you need to focus on that on a daily basis. That's what you have to realize, actually. So instead of being detached from work, you need to focus on your day-to-day work. Okay, and that you will do once you find the purpose of your life, once you find the goal in life, once you find your ambition in life. Then you will be able to be methodical and systematic in your day-to-day work, and that will enable you to become successful in life eventually. So yeah, even Ketu, if it is in the 6th house with moon, it can form Pitra dosha. Okay, so you need to do the remedies for Pitra dosha as mentioned in the beginning of the video. Okay, so yes friends, that was my take on the Rahu Ketu axis. So find out where you have this Rahu Ketu axis, in which houses Rahu and Ketu are falling, and let me know whether whatever I have told you has resonated with you in some way. And and if you want personal consultation, details are there in the video description. So before I wind up this video, a gentle reminder: be kind and compassionate to all animals, birds, creatures. Be dutiful towards your parents, grandparents, to your elders, and be compassionate to the poor and downtrodden. See you next time, friends. Thank you.